Right. Okay. Okay. So the truth is that stress is actually defined as our mental, emotional, and physical behavioral reaction to perceived demands or threats. So, we go through life, and there's life events, there is, life experience, and a lot of the time we react to those events, to those kind of potential challenges on many levels, on an emotional level and also on a physical level. And that can create stress in the body. Now, when we are stressed, our body produces a hormone that is called cortisol. And studies have shown that there are long-term and short-term effects of stress, particularly a long-term effect of stress means high level of cortisol in our bloodstream, and that studies have shown that those high level of cortisol are actually associated with increased risk of cardiovascular disease, increased risk of mental issues, hormonal balance and infertility, and many other illnesses. So, when we are young, our body in a way deals more easily with the stress, with those extra amounts of cortisol in the body. But the older that we get, it's actually kind of tiring and wearing out the body, and I'm talking about all the systems of the body. And so it's important to be aware of what stress is and how it manifests in your life. I did mention, so short-term effect of stress, like you're kind of like, sometimes it can be anxiety, sometimes it can be lack of concentration, many things. We're going to actually see some of those warning signs later on as we progress with the talk today. So stress, again, has long-term and short-term effect on us, on our body and our health. Now, how do we manage stress? Well, there are actually kind of four kind of steps of managing stress. The first is kind of knowing how stressed are you, right? How stressed are you? And that's just here I'm going to put on the chat for you guys. Sorry. I'm going to put on the chat for you a link to a quick stress test that you guys can take. I can't access it here for some reason. Give me a second. Here we go. So first step is actually measuring your stress, knowing how stressed you are. So on the chat right now, I posted a link to a stress test that I'll ask you guys to do in a little bit, in a few minutes, not right now, but in a few minutes. So once you assess your stress levels, the next thing you want to do is identify your stressors or your stress triggers. Stress triggers can be external, for example, school demand, job demand, family demand, traffic, overcommitments, and things like that. But a lot of the time, for a lot of us, stressors or stress triggers can come from an internal place, meaning self-doubt, pressure to succeed, fearing the unknown, and so on. So it's kind of important to put in mind, once you kind of measure your stress, kind of going through your life and kind of identifying what are the things that are actually causing stress in my life and how can I break them down. The third step is identifying your warning signs. So what are warning signs? Warning signs are signs that we can experience either physically or emotionally, very often not linking them to the fact that we are stressed. We'll talk about and we'll explore some of those warning signs later on. And of course, the last step of managing stress, so once you know how stressed you are, you identify what are the causes of your stress, you learn how your body reacts to stress and how to identify it. The next step would be to use some prevention methods that work for you. And we're going to actually explore some physical and mental, prevention strategies. But my main, method of preventing stress is really using your mind and using mindfulness techniques, which I will introduce later on today. Any questions so far before I move on? Okay. So, measuring your stress. So the truth is that there are various versions of the stress measurement, and all of them are basically based on some version of a perceived stress scale that was originally created by Cohen et al. In 1983. He developed this 14-item instrument designed to measure the degree to which situations in one's life are perceived as stressful. And further, a recent study in 2017 validated a 10-item perceived stress scale and confirmed that this scale is not significantly affected by gender bias, at least among new, students in the United Kingdom. Now, as I mentioned, as I did post on the chat a link to a stress test, and I ask you guys to please take a few minutes right now and click on that link. I can send it again if for anyone don't see it, can see it. So here is again the stress test. I ask that you guys please take a few seconds to take it. Now, once you complete it, we're actually, so remember I'm a math teacher, right? So I have to use some kind of a math tweak. We're going to use a Desmos activity where you guys will be able to enter your inputs as your stress scores and then later on your warning signs and so on. And I will project this on the screen. Now, the Desmos activity is anonymized, so your names will not show on the screen. It will actually be names of famous mathematicians. So I'm going to stop the share for a minute, give you guys a second to take that test. And I'm going to share with you the Desmos activity link. So once you're done taking your stress test, click on the second link, the one to the Desmos, and go ahead and enter your stress score. Okay, I see 3 of you on the Desmos already. Let's wait a couple more seconds for the rest to finish the test and enter their grade. And I'm seeing various ranges of the test, of the scores. So meaning some of you are very stressed, some of you are moderately stressed, and some of you are not so stressed, which is great. Does anyone have any issues accessing the stress test or the Desmos? Okay, I see more coming here. Okay. Okay. So I think I'm ready actually to share the Desmos screen. Whoo-hoo, there is someone here who's very stressed with a score of 20. I mean, it says moderate, but 26 is a relatively high stress score, which is a little bit concerning to me. Can you guys see the Desmos screen? Okay, so we can see the kind of varying degrees of stress for our audience today. I would appreciate knowing maybe if you can type on the chat if you're done or you still need a couple more seconds. Okay. Okay, all right. So we see we have various degrees of stress here today. So as I mentioned, the next step in measuring, in managing your stress is examining your stressors, right? What are the things that cause the trigger that, you know, stressful reaction in your body, that a spike of that cortisol in your bloodstream? Well, I'm going to release the next slide. So on the next slide, you know, I want you guys to enter what are some of the things that causes stress in your life. And as I mentioned, there could be external stressors like job demand, family demand, traffic, finances, overcommitment, injustice. You know, there could be many things. Actually, I think you need to rank your stuff there. There's a list of them, and you kind of need to rank them from a kind of top stressor to kind of least top stressor. And stressors can also, a lot of the time, can be internal, like your self-doubt. You're doubting yourself with everything that you do. That can cause a lot of stress. You're really high pressure to succeed, so you're really hard on yourself and you expect a lot from yourself, and that causes a lot of stress. It can be fear of unknown, fear of what's going to be tomorrow, right? Or fear of change, right? Or sometimes it can also be some physical issues that you're ill or something, and it can cause a lot of stress as well. So you see, I see you guys ranking here. So what you see right now is the response from each and every one of you. I'm going to actually click on overlay, and we can see the spikes. So it looks like job demands is kind of high for quite a lot of you. Family demands, life experience can be devastating. I know personally, a few years ago, I experienced a devastating loss that actually impacted my ability to function and, you know, perform even in my job and in my household for a long period of time. And actually that was kind of the motivation to do this workshop and to spread out the word that, you know, we as humans, a lot of the time we tend to think that what we go through is uniquely to us. But that's not the case. We all go through the same challenges of life, except that everyone has his life packaged in a different way. And sometimes knowing that, you know, you're not the only one going through those challenges is kind of soothing, you know, and calming. So we see family demand, we see self-doubt here is quite ranked high for quite a lot of you, injustice, finance, fear of unknown, racism for some of you is pretty high, pressure to succeed, traffic, technology issues can be, stressful for those that are, not comfortable with technology or are just getting comfortable with it. Schoolwork, a lack of emotional support is is a big stressor for a lot of us, that we feel like we're alone. There's nobody to support us. Speaking in public, some illness. For some of you, I see living situation as being stressful. And of course, in college, when you're in college, maybe you live in a dorm with a roommate that you don't like or whatever, that can cause a lot of stress as well. So, but the point is that you bring it to your mind, you recognize, right? You recognize those things that causes stress for you. And once you recognize, you can, when challenges comes, you can pause and identify, okay, this is my stress trigger. I actually have an opportunity here to pause and do something about it. So, any questions on the stressor or stress triggers, or how to identify them? Any questions on those? Okay. So once you identify, you measured your stress, you identified your stress triggers. Let's look at the sorry, before we look at the warning signs, I want to give you a first tool. The very basic tool to manage stress is to use your breath. Our breath has tremendous impact on our mind and on our nervous system. On a normal day, we don't use the full capacity of our lungs. We usually only use the 1/3 of capacity of the lung, especially when we're busy and stressed. However, deep breathing really helps with two things. With few things. With, first of all, increasing your lung capacity. It helps with the circulation of blood and oxygen in your body, and it helps kind of calm the nervous system. So I'm going to demonstrate right now 2 types of breathing, and I want you guys to tell me which one is actually deep breath and which one is not. So number 1 is like this. Number 2 is like that. So which one was the deep breath? 1 or 2? You can type on the chat, or you can unmute yourself and say. I only see a response from two people. The rest, are you there? I can't see you. I'm actually working on developing my 6th sense so I can see where those that are behind their cameras, what they are. Yeah, okay, awesome. So you guys recognize that it was the second one, right? So deep breath really means that you inhale through your nose and you really push the air down into your abdomen. You can visualize it as almost you're filling up a balloon with your abdomen. So let us now practice a few of those deep breaths together. I will guide you. If you guys want, you can close your eyes. If you're sitting on a chair, just make sure that your back is kind of straight, so that your spinal cord is nice and aligned. If you're lying down, you can just kind of separate your feet and your hands apart and just be kind of comfortable. So close your eyes if you wish for a minute, and let's start with a deep inhale to a count of 3 through your nose. 1, 2, 3. Push the air down into your abdomen. And exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you want to pace your inhale, and even more so pace your exhale. Let's do a couple more. Inhale deeply. Exhale completely. Inhale deeply. Exhale completely all the way. So what did you guys notice now, just in those couple of deep breaths? What did you experience in your body? I would love for you to share.
I felt relaxed.
You immediately feel how it's calming, right? It's relaxing, right? Kind of tune down your nervous system there.
Yeah, and I feel like it might be better with like music or something.
Yes, absolutely. So for the meditation towards the end, you're going to use some nice music. Okay, I see relieved and calm, less tired, more focused. Excellent, excellent, guys. These are exactly some of those. Your heart rate felt like it slowed down a bit, calm and less tense. That's exactly what deep breathing is. And it's so easy to do. I remember when I just started working at Avila about 5 years ago, it was very stressful for me. It was, a new job, a new place. It was after that loss that I shared with you. And I remember I had days that were intensely stressed. I was going from class to meetings and a lot going on. And I remember some days I would just go into my office, close my door, close my eyes, take those 3 to 5 deep breaths. And honestly, when I opened my eyes, my day changed, my energy changed, and I was, more focused and more capable of dealing with what I had to deal with for the rest of the day. So deep breath is the very basic tool for kind of reducing your stress kind of on a momentarily base. Now, as I mentioned, once you identify your stress levels, identify your stressors, you also want to look at what are the signs that your body gives you to indicate that you are stressed. So those are called, again, warning signs. Now, if you guys will go to slide number 6, you will see that there are some mental indicators that are on the left and some physical indicators that are on the right. Sorry, physical are on the left, mental are on the right. So just kind of like think with yourself, what is usually you're experiencing when you're stressed? Now, some of the physical one could be heart racing, shakiness, nausea, exhaustion, change in sleeping patterns, change in eating and drinking pattern, procrastination, right? Letting go of exercise routine, avoid dealing with tasks at hand. Some of the mental one could be sadness, feeling of failure, increased irritability, poor focus and concentration. I know regarding irritability, I know that, for me, it's the biggest sign. Sometimes, I would sit here in my office and my husband would come and like ask me a question, and it was just a simple question, but sometimes I would, explode on him. And that for me is like, okay, calm down. You're irritated because you're stressed, right? So calm down. But my poor husband, sometimes he experienced that he's being impacted by my irritability or my stress. So I see, can you guys still see my Desmo screen? Can you still see the Desmo screen, guys, that I'm projecting? Yes, no? Yes, okay. So we see here, I see inability to focus and lack of concentration is a big one for a lot of you. Letting go of exercise routine is also a big one. I see some of you have excessive yawning and hiccup and giggle. That can happen. That's, remember, there is a chemical reaction happening in your body when you're stressed. Remember that hormone cortisol is being released to the bloodstream, and it can have all of those effects on your fatigue and your gut and your stomach and everything. I see some nail biting here, changing in drinking and eating pattern. On the mental side, I see for a lot of you, anxiety is the most common one, right? Sadness, feeling of failure, exhaustion. I see for a lot of you frustration and rage, right? So a lot of the time, rage and frustration are actually a result of fear and anxiety, right? I see procrastination here is quite common to a lot of you. So anyway, putting these in mind when you go through life and you go through challenging times and stressful times, pay attention to what your body is telling you. Pay attention to those warning signs. And when you're experiencing them, that's a sign for you that this is the time to pause and do something about your stress. Any questions before we move on to some of the recommendations, some of the prevention methods that we can use? Okay, no questions, great. So, there are physical ways to manage stress, and there are also mental, kind of like a mental recommendation. So some of the physical recommendation, and I'm kind of going to touch base, like a little bit of each point to explain to you why is it so, important. So physical recommendation can be setting non-negotiable time for exercise, preferably on a daily basis. Now, guys, why is exercise so important? Yeah, we all want to look good. We all want to have muscles and be fit, but why is exercise so important and is so directly related with stress? Do you guys know? What happens when we exercise? What happens in our brain? Anyone know? So when we exercise, our brain releases endorphins, right? Or release endorphins, exactly. And the endorphins are actually helping reducing cortisol levels in your bloodstream, right? And so, exercise is important. Also, another thing that a lot of people forget is that exercise helps your internal organs function better. It actually helps your body eliminate toxins that a lot of the time, high toxins levels and high stress levels are very risky to your arteries and your heart health, cardiac health in general. So exercise, even if it's just 10 minutes of a walk a day, is very important. Now, of course, you want to maybe once a week have a more intense exercise where you actually you use all your muscles, you move all your body. And so, you get kind of a good session. Next physical recommendation is commit to at least one healthy and nutrition meal per day. Guys, what we put in our body, what we eat, impact our gut health, impact our stomach, impact all of our internal organs. And when we are stressed, the easiest thing to do is to just grab junk. But those junk food has a lot of toxins in it. And those toxins are not helping your stress levels. They're actually can elevate them. So healthy and nutritious meals are important, at least once a day. Sleep a minimum of 7 hours per day, or rest when you're fatigued. Remember, when we sleep, our brain also goes to sleep, and our brain also releases the chemicals that we need in order to function properly in a daily basis. So a minimum of 7 hours a night is important, or just resting when you feel tired. It's very like we are now, living in an area that society is like demanding, right? Demanding success, demanding, and we demand a lot of from ourselves. And, you know, I know as a student, the easiest thing to let go was the sleep, right? Yeah, I'll sleep 4 hours. But no, it really impacts your functioning. It impacts your focus, your brain function, and so on. Next recommendation is setting limit on caffeine. Why? Anyone know? Why it's important to set limit of caffeine? And by the way, caffeine also includes, soda, Coke, and chocolate, and all of those. Guys, caffeine is a stimuli substance. So when you consume high amounts of caffeine, guess what? It actually irritates your nervous system. It makes you even more stressed. Another thing about caffeine is very acidic, especially when it's consuming coffee, and it creates acidic environment in our body, or especially in our internal organs, and that in turn is linked to increased inflammation in the body and can be all sort of internal diseases. So, you know, I'm not saying don't drink coffee, but, you know, limit your consumption. Another physical recommendation is using over-the-counter supplements. There is a lot of natural stress relief remedies like St. Joe Wort, a rescue remedy, and now there is a big industry of CBD products, and the research on the impact of CBD on stress and anxiety is growing. You guys can, you know, Google and see for yourself. And so use some of those, have those in handy, right? The next physical recommendation is when you have a big task, a big project, what you want to do is take that big project and just break it down into smaller and more manageable tasks. That way you tackle one step at a time, you tackle your task one step at a time, and you still progress in accomplishing your task. Right? But it's more manageable when you break it down, right? Let's say you have a big project due on Sunday and you need to read 10 chapters. You know, you want to break it down. Today I'm going to read 3 chapters. Tomorrow I'm going to read 4 chapters. Whatever it is, right? Break it down so that it's more manageable for you to do and comprehend and manifest. And of course, guys, plan your time wisely and realistically. You know, a lot of the time we're stressed because we don't plan our time wisely. We tend to procrastinate, right? And so then we come to like, oh, last minute, and I have all of this to do and I'm so stressed, right? So really planning your time realistically and wisely is very important. Another thing that is important regarding time is really setting clear boundaries between your work time, your family time, and your personal time. You know, I personally know that, you know, over the pandemic, it was because we were all home. It was so easy for me to have like days of 12 hours of work a day. But at some point, you know, you have to put the boundaries. You have to put the boundaries. Okay, I worked so far. Now it's time for me to either spend time with my family or do something fun for myself or rest or whatever that is. And one last thing, guys, at the end of every day, celebrate your successes. Celebrate your successes. Look at your day and see, okay, I accomplished this, this, and this. And, you know, rather than focusing on what you didn't accomplish, that actually cause even more stress, right? So celebrate your successes every day. Look at the positive. Look at the half full, the cup half full, not half empty. Some of the mental recommendation that I would like to offer you guys today is deep breathing, like the one, you know, we did earlier. I recommend creating some kind of a daily relaxation. Can either be yoga or meditation. Towards the end of the session today, I'm gonna guide you through a relaxation meditation that you guys can use on your own, and it's very powerful. Sometimes connecting to people that you care about is helpful in, you know, alleviating the stress. Sharing our energy and caring for others often makes us feel good, purposeful, and connected. So that's another thing that you guys can do. And, the big thing for me is really pay attention to your thoughts. A lot of the time, our thoughts are our enemies because we can't control our thoughts. Our thoughts will come up, but how we react to them, that's what determines our reality down the road. And so I know for myself, a lot of the time I hear this negative self-talk. I'm not good enough. I'm not doing enough. I'm not all this negative self-talk in my head that cause me even more stress. And a lot of the time I can just say, okay, stop. Thank you for sharing. Stop. Now I choose, to listen to my positive self-talk. I can do this. I can progress one step at a time. Everything gets done at the end of the day, right? Also, guys, understand that whatever challenges you experience in life are temporary. What's the reality is today, it's not what's going to be tomorrow. Right now, you guys are in college, you're going through 4 years of intense, studies and stress and work and everything, but that's not going to be forever. You're going to give the push, you're going to graduate, you get a good job, and then, life will become a little bit more subtle, hopefully. Right? So really understanding that challenges of life are temporary and you want to connect to the bigger picture of your life, where you're going, who you want to be, what you want to leave as a legacy in this world when you live it, right? Connecting to the big picture of your life. And I also already mentioned that celebrate your successes at the end of each day rather than focusing on what you have not accomplished yet. So I see some of your recommendations here are great. You guys already kind of, I see going to the gym, eating your favorite food, talk with a friend, write down in your journal. These are all great tips, guys. Listening to music, I see here, taking a nap, exercise, sports. Some people here watching TV or playing video games that help them. That's great. And that's awesome, guys. All right. Any questions? Now, I want to say something about the self-talk. The truth is, guys, that according to many teachings, both, Kabbalah and both yoga, we exist on 2 levels. We have the physical level, right? Our physical existence, but we also have the internal existence, which is the soul. And the soul is directly connected to the divine energy or God in the universe. Now, a lot of the time, our negative self-talk comes from the body, the needs of the body, of the momentarily, and the positive self-talk comes from our soul. And the truth is that when we get up in the morning, we have a choice to what channel of thoughts we're tuning into. The one that is destructive and worry and negative, or the one that looks at life as opportunities for growth, for change, for fulfillment, right? It's really up to us, really up to us. Any questions, guys? Any questions? So for the last few minutes, what I would like to do is I would like to guide you in a relaxation meditation. I'm actually going to stop the share, but I will share subtle music, and I would really like your input about the volume, because I want you guys to be able to hear my voice, but at the same time, oh, actually, that's not the right one. At the same time, I want to make sure that you, give me a second. Can you hear? Can you hear the music? Is it soft enough? Can you hear my voice as well? Okay. So what I'm going to do, what I'm going to ask you guys, so if you are in a lying position, just separate your feet apart, separate your hands apart, and just, you know, kind of let your body loose on the mat or whatever you're lying on. If you're sitting on a chair, try to have your feet touch the floor so that you're grounded and your spine straight. I'm going to guide you to visualize your body's picture in your own mind and kind of mentally suggest your body to relax as after me, like as I guide you. We're gonna start from the feet going all the way up. I find it sometimes helpful to visualize white light kind of entering my body from my feet, kind of all the way up. And so again, I invite you to be comfortable. You can lift your eyes slightly above the field of vision and close them. If you're sitting on a chair, you can place your palms facing up, just resting on your laps. And let's start with a couple of deep breaths, bringing our attention to the breath. Inhale deeply. Exhale. Inhale deeply. Exhale. And continue to breathe normally. Just visualize your body's picture in your mind and mentally repeat after me as I suggest your body parts to relax. I'm relaxing my toes, feet, and ankles. I'm relaxing my toes, feet, and ankles. My toes, feet, and ankles are relaxed. I'm relaxing my shins and my calves, my knees and my thighs, my shins, my calves, my knees and my thighs are relaxed. My legs are relaxed. I'm relaxing my hip bones and my hips. I'm relaxing my pelvis, my hips and my pelvis are relaxed. I'm relaxing my abdomen, my chest, my rib cage, my abdomen and my chest are relaxed. I'm relaxing my lower back, middle back, and upper back. Relaxing my spinal cord, my back is relaxed. I'm relaxing my fingers and my palms, my wrists and my forearms, my elbows and my upper arms, my hands are completely relaxed. I'm relaxing my shoulders and shoulder blades. I'm relaxing my neck and my throat, my shoulders, my neck, and my throat are completely relaxed. I'm relaxing my chin, my mouth, my lips, my tongue, my cheeks and cheekbones, my eyes and eyebrows, my nose and nostrils, my forehead and my ears. My face is completely relaxed, relaxed. I'm relaxing my scalp and my brain, my head and my face are relaxed. I'm relaxing my internal organs, my heart, my lungs, my liver, my pancreas, spleen, my kidneys, my guts, small intestines and large intestines, my reproductive organs, my internal organs are relaxed. My body is completely relaxed. Relaxed. Just observe the sensation in your body. If you fell asleep, that's great. It means that all of the muscles of your body were relaxed. If you're still awake, bring your attention to the point between your eyebrows. That's the third eye chakra. Just observe what's going on in your body. Let your thoughts come in and out. Just observe them. You can even visualize yourself either lying or standing or being on a peaceful beach where the sun is shining, the birds are singing, or in a beautiful forest, whatever the place of calmness is for you. Just embrace that relaxation, embrace that sensation. Let all your muscles be loose. Now, come back to your breath. Let's take a couple of deep breaths together. Inhale deeply. Exhale. Inhale deeply. Exhale. Now very gently bring back motion into your body. You can wiggle your fingers and your toes. Just gently. You can move your arms gently and your feet. Bring back motion again into all parts of your body. If you feel the need, you can stretch. And when you're ready, very gently open your eyes and come back to the here and now. And welcome back, guys. I would love to hear some of your experiences. If you want to just in one word or one sentence, describe what you experience now in the meditation. Thank you. I'm happy to hear that you feel refreshed. Thank you. The rest, did I manage to make you guys fall asleep? I don't see any responses. I only see one on the chat. Well, the truth is that if you kind of fell asleep, yeah, okay, great. You felt like you let everything negative go. That's great. You kind of ground the negativity, right? Oh, you feel tired. Interesting. But you know what? Sometimes when you're relaxed, it's more of a relaxation than tired. But it does want to make you fall asleep, right? All right. Thank you guys. If you're relaxed, that's great. I'm happy to hear that. All right, guys. Thank you very much for joining me today. And I'm here for you if you have any questions or want to reach out, please do so. And wish you good luck on your exams and the rest of the semester. And happy holidays and all the best to you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Bye, guys. Later.